All right, let's talk about something that we all think we know, but maybe don't. Code performance. We spend so much time making our code work, but do we really know if it's fast? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how the pros measure performance in .NET. And, well, you might be in for a surprise.
So let me just ask you this, straight up. That piece of code you're so proud of, is it actually as fast as you think it is? It's a simple question, right? But the answer is anything but simple.
Okay, so check this out. On the left, you've got this nice, elegant link query, super readable. On the right, a good old-fashioned for loop. They both do the exact same thing, but when it comes to speed, they are worlds apart. Seriously, in many cases, that for loop could be 10, maybe even 20 times faster. And that's the kind of difference you'd never see unless you knew exactly how to look.
And that really gets to the heart of it. There's this saying, and it's absolutely true. Performance is a feature. It's not some spice you sprinkle on at the end. It's a core part of the user experience, and getting it wrong can be a total disaster.
But how do we get it right? How do we measure it accurately?
Well, this leads us to a huge, incredibly common mistake. A trap I like to call the stopwatch law.
I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? We've all done it. You think, I'll just wrap my code in a stopwatch, hit run, and see what number pops out. It feels like the most direct way to get an answer.
But here's the tough love moment. Those manual tests, they are almost certainly lying to you. The numbers you're getting are inconsistent, they're unreliable, and they're probably leading you to optimize the completely wrong things.
So what the heck is going on? Well, there are these invisible forces messing with your results. First, you've got the JIT, the just-in-time compiler. It's actually changing and optimizing your code as it runs, which means the very first run is always going to be way slower than all the others. Then there's the garbage collector, which can just decide to pause your entire program whenever it wants to do some spring cleaning. And finally, your CPU speed isn't constant. It's always jumping up and down to save power. A simple stopwatch is completely blind to all of this.
So, if the stopwatch is a lie, what's the truth? It's time to meet the tool that the professionals use to solve this exact problem.
Let me introduce you to your new best friend, BenchmarkDotNet. This is, without exaggeration, the gold standard for performance testing in the .NET world. It's an open-source library built by absolute experts for one reason: to give you accurate and trustworthy results.
And this isn't some obscure tool. The teams at Microsoft who actually build .NET, they use this. JetBrains, who makes ReSharper and Writer, they use it. Pretty much every major open-source .NET project you can think of relies on it. When the people who build the platform trust it, you know it's the real deal.
So how does it do it? How does it beat all those hidden forces we just talked about? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the magic. The short version is, it takes all of that messy, complicated, error-prone stuff, and it just handles it. It automates the entire scientific process so you don't have to worry about it.
Here's how it works. First, it does a warm-up, running your code a bunch of times just to let the JIT compiler do its thing and get the real work done. Then, it runs your code over and over and over again, thousands of times, to get a huge pool of data and smooth out any random hiccups. Here's the genius part. It runs each of your tests in a completely separate process, so they can't interfere with each other. And finally, it does all the math, giving you the mean, the standard deviation, all the stats you need to be confident in the results.
Now, all of that might sound super complicated, but here is the absolute best part. Getting started is ridiculously simple. Let's talk about running your first benchmark. No, really, it is literally as easy as adding one NuGet package to a console app and sticking a couple of attributes on your methods. That's it. No complicated setup, no config files. You could be uncovering real performance insights in your code in the next 10 minutes. Which really just leaves us with one last question to chew on. Now that you know the right way to measure things, what performance secrets, what bottlenecks, what incredible opportunities for optimization are just sitting there, hiding in your own code, waiting for you to find them?